Looking live.
Here comes the play. Goodman at the free throw line. Jumper.
He broke his ankles. He is Houdini.
Mickey Mantle don't care about you, so why should you care about him? Nobody cares.
That's not a good call. No.
You don't like that call.
I don't like that call.
Not so fast.
Hope you're having a good day so far. Hope you are enjoying football being back. I know I sure am. The Cowboys fans sure are not. No, that doesn't make sense, but you know what I'm saying. The Cowboys fans are not enjoying the start to the NFL season. And the Eagles fans, as I mentioned, the Eagles fans from around here are probably liking it. The offense looked pretty bad for the Cowboys in week 1. They couldn't really do much of anything. In fact, they couldn't do anything except for muster a field goal on the board in their 19-3 loss to the Buccaneers on Sunday night. The leaders didn't lead. Dak, didn't do much of anything. The offensive line was about as bad as it could have possibly been. The wide receivers, other than CeeDee Lamb, and honestly, including CeeDee Lamb, didn't play all that great. Zeke wasn't impressive, I didn't think. And the defense, I'll give them that. That is their one small victory of week 1. If there's to be a silver lining in their 19-3 loss that also saw them lose Dak Prescott for 6 to 8 weeks, it's going to be the defense. I didn't think their defense was that bad. They forced a lot of Buccaneers field goal attempts when, those could have easily been touchdowns. So I thought the defense was, if there's one positive thing I had to say about the Cowboys' loss to the Buccaneers, a 19-3 loss, if there's one positive thing I had to say, I would talk about the defense. But I'm not going to talk about the defense. Instead, I'm going to talk about the offense. Because the pain of losing Amari Cooper is already being shown. Before we even get to losing Dak Prescott, let's start with the Cowboys having Dak Prescott. Let's start with them not being able to do anything on the offensive side of the ball with Dak Prescott. Because let's not act like Dak Prescott got injured in the first quarter and he wasn't there for the whole game, so it was the backup quarterback and he stunk, and that's why they lost. Prescott didn't get injured until the game was already over. And there are two other decent wide receivers, like, the secondary guys, were out due to injury. So let's keep that in mind. And I think no matter what, whether those guys are healthy or not, with CeeDee Lamb now being the wide receiver 1 in Dallas, defenses are just going to, obviously, this is a pretty simple concept that they're going to devote more attention to guarding him. I mean, that's just the way things work. So they're going to double, sometimes triple CeeDee Lamb, and they're going to be content with man coverage on other receivers, and that's going to get the job done. It got the job done on Sunday night, and it's going to get the job done for the rest of the season until potentially those other wide receivers come back from injury. But does it really matter what wide receivers they have if you can't get them the ball? And no, I'm not talking about Cooper Rush just yet. I'm talking about the offensive line for Dallas, because that was just as bad. Prescott was running around so much due to the lack of protection. I wasn't sure. Sometimes I legitimately was not sure whether, were they running a screenplay, or was it a designed quarterback run? Was it a designed, boot play? Was it a designed scramble and then throw? Like, he was running around in the backfield so much. I think he accumulated more yardage running around in the pocket and escaping the pocket and running around in the backfield than he did actual yardage that counts in the box score. And then Dak went out. And then things got bad. Got worse than they already were. And he went out, and before the injury, I guess I want to backtrack a little bit. Before he even, got hurt, on the drive before he exited the game, I don't know if it is necessarily a 3-and-out. I forget the exact details on that. But he was booed off the field. And you know, again, whether it was a 3-and-out or not, they wound up punting the ball. That's what matters here. So they punted the ball, and Dak was getting booed off the field. Now, okay, was it the offense that was getting booed off the field? Was it Mike McCarthy? Was it the team in general that they were booing? I don't know. But it's not a good look when you can't do anything and you're getting booed. Bottom line there. Next drive, Dak comes out, and it's kind of a last chance for the Cowboys to, you know, get back in the game. And then Dak gets his hand hit, and he takes, you know, there's a little bit of an injury timeout, and he leaves the game. And all of a sudden, you're thinking, oh, you know, he's just going to be back, he'll be fine. No, it wasn't fine. It wasn't okay. He goes to the locker room and stuff's getting thrown at him. If you missed that, I wasn't sure about it, but I thought he was getting stuff thrown at him, and so I went back and looked, and I'm pretty sure somebody was throwing. I don't know if it was trash or a towel or what it was, but somebody threw something at him when he left the tunnel, and that's not a good look. Not a good look. When your franchise quarterback gets hurt and you're throwing stuff at him as he goes into the locker room, that's not good. So then, you know, a little bit after the game and the next morning, it comes out that he's going to be out 6 to 8 weeks with a thumb injury. He gets surgery on it. Cooper Rush came into the game. He finished the game. He was, you know, obviously quarterback too. So now we're wondering what's next for Dallas. That has been kind of talked about ad nauseum over the past 48 hours. The media is forcing this idea of trading for a quarterback. And I think it's kind of silly. I think it's kind of stupid, idiotic, whatever you want to say. It doesn't make sense, and here's why. The most popular candidate that I'm hearing is Jimmy Garoppolo, and that's a complicated situation because Jimmy Garoppolo really holds all the cards in this scenario. They just signed him to a fully guaranteed deal for this season. And I think if the Niners, I think if they were willing and wanting to give up Garoppolo, I'm pretty sure they would have done it already. I think you'd see him on a different team by now. And I think, in my opinion, and I've talked about this before, I think they signed him in case Trey Lance stinks. And a Week 1 loss to the Bears for the Niners isn't settling those concerns or nerves at all. Garoppolo also has a no-trade clause in his contract, which he'd have to waive in order to be traded. Would he do that? Possibly. I don't know. Or would the Niners even be willing to trade him in the first place? Probably not. Another thing to ask for is if in some crazy scenario they are willing to trade him, what would they be asking for? And would Dallas be willing to give up anything, or would they be willing to give up? I mean, in a trade, you're going to have to give up stuff anyway, so, you know, that's obvious. But would Dallas be willing to give up what any other team, for that matter, Niners or not, would the Cowboys be willing to give up what another team wants in order for a quarterback? Also, do they even have anything that people want, that teams want? Other than Micah Parsons, which is probably untouchable anyway. So that it doesn't seem like it's going to happen. I've heard Andy Dalton, which made me laugh a little bit because I don't know why Dallas would why would Dallas trade for a guy that they let walk in the offseason? That doesn't make sense to me. And it makes sense from the standpoint that, okay, Andy Dalton knows the team, that he knows the playbook, and yeah, he's a decent enough quarterback to keep the team around 500 until Dak Prescott comes back. And yes, Dalton is probably unlikely to start in the Big Easy unless we witness another Jameis Winston injury. And that entire idea could be what keeps the Saints from being willing to trade Dalton in the first place. Mitch Trubisky is another one that I've heard. And I don't know why the Steelers would trade a guy that they just signed to a two-year deal this offseason, named him the Week 1 starter, named him an offensive team captain. I don't know that you trade a guy like that within the first Not even the first half of the season. I don't know that you trade a guy like that in the first quarter of the season. I don't think that happens. I've heard Mason Rudolph, which is just comical. I don't even know. First off, I don't know if Mason Rudolph is any better than Cooper Rush. And Mason Rudolph is so bad that even the Steelers fans don't like him. Even the Steelers fans don't want him. And nobody wants him. He's not that good. And again, I'm going to get to this in a little bit, but we'll keep that in mind that I said that. He's not that good. And is he any better than Cooper Rush? Keep that in mind. Another one that I've heard is Drew Lock. And I'm not in love with the idea that you'd have to trade a players, picks away to a team for a guy that is seen as a downgrade for most teams. And think about it this way. The Seahawks chose Geno Smith over Lock. And yeah, okay, Geno Smith had a good game last night. I get that. But Drew Lock was seen as a downgrade for most teams. And Drew Lock was a guy who, for a split second in Denver, was the guy, right? He was going to be, the next quarterback in Denver. And then the Broncos heard Teddy Bridgewater was available, and they're like, great, he can come to play quarterback for us. Please, I'm begging you. So, potentially, I don't know if Drew Lock is on the market. I don't know if the Seahawks would be willing to give him up right now. And I've heard other ridiculous ones as well, like Teddy Bridgewater, and I mean, just go look at all the money they gave him. And the Dolphins had a guy like Jacoby Brissett there last year because they weren't sure if Tua could stay healthy. And that's the thing. A lot of teams have quarterbacks right now that they're not sure if they can stay healthy, or they're having quarterbacks that are coming off of injury and they want a decent backup so that way if the quarterback does get injured, they're still going to be competitive and they still have a shot. So any quarterback right now that is actually on the market, any quarterback that is actually available, is not a significant enough of an upgrade to justify trading away decent players or picks. The free agent market, and I've heard free agent, just go sign somebody from free agency. And anybody who says that has not looked at the free agent market for quarterbacks. Because the free agent market for quarterbacks right now is, I don't know what to say other than it's bad. And I know saying something bad is not really, not really a take or a good way to put it, but I don't know what to say other than that. And what's bad when Cam Newton is by far the best free agent quarterback out there right now. When he's by far the best quarterback option out there free agent-wise, it's not good. Newton, not to mention, he doesn't fit the scheme in Dallas, and even if he did, I probably wouldn't sign him anyway. I've also heard the idea that, hey, Ryan Fitzpatrick, RG3, Phillip Rivers, they can come out of retirement, right? I don't think either of them are really likely to come out of retirement for the Cowboys. And the thing that I think is really holding everything up on this is there's one big problem. And it's that the injury happened in the beginning of the season, right? Prescott, even though he had surgery, he's still expected to come back, right? This isn't a end of the season thing where he gets hurt. He's out for the season. He's not coming back, and now you need a quarterback to finish the season. And if it was in the middle of the season and he's out for the rest of the season, let's say you're on track to make the playoffs, and now you need a quarterback that can finish the deal and take you to the playoffs, right? You need a guy that's going to finish the good start to the season. So you get a quarterback who comes in, leads you to a successful finish, and then, who knows, maybe you keep him around to give Dak some competition next year, or you keep him around in case Dak gets hurt again. That would make sense, and I think you would see that it would be more likely to see the Cowboys trade for a quarterback. But scratch all that, because this injury happened in week 1. All that Dallas needs is a quarterback that can keep them hovering the 500 mark until Dak comes back. And Cooper Rush fits the bill, I think. And that might sound a little crazy, but I think, as I mentioned, there's no quarterback out there that is a significant enough upgrade that's on the market that justifies trading away players or picks. And all they need is right now they need a quarterback that will not have a problem with taking the bench once Dak is healthy. They're not looking for a rebuild type of a quarterback who might be the future guy or any of that garbage, right? They are literally just looking for a 6 to 8 week placeholder until Dak comes back. And that's not exactly a great pitch for a quarterback. Hey, we'd love to have you on the Cowboys for 6 to 8 weeks and then take the bench again. Jimmy G's like, I cannot wait to hit the field. I will take that opportunity. No, that's not. That is not gonna happen. That's no way. Okay. And yeah, I mean they you're not gonna get a great quarterback and then say, hey, once Dak comes back, sorry, but you're gonna take the bench. That's just not the way it's gonna work. So I think right now, the Cowboys, for now at least, they're just gonna be content with. They're just gonna be content with Cooper Rush, and if not, then if Cooper Rush comes out and he looks terrible, right, and he throws 5 picks against the Bengals next week, then I might start seriously thinking about other quarterbacks and where they're going to get a different quarterback from. But right now, at least, for the time being, I think they're legitimately going to stick with Cooper Rush.